You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode 222. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? So I was recently looking through some past episodes on this show, and I came across one that still feels incredibly relevant today. This episode really struck a chord with a lot of our listeners, and it's one that I believe deserves another listen. So I knew I had to re-release it for you today. Enjoy. We have a very juicy topic today. It is one of the biggest questions that come up within the academy, the coaches that we have as they start their businesses. And it's around, what do you charge as a coach? What is the quote right amount? What is the best practice to come up with your rates and your fees? So in this episode, I'm going to simplify all of that for you. I'm going to share what to charge. I'm going to share some ways that you can go about charging a certain amount that's going to be a win for you and a win for your clients. So you'll make more and you'll also be able to provide more value. So the first thing I want to say around this topic is that there's no point in you Googling what is the average life coach salary. I know a lot of you have done that, and a lot of you have come to me and said, here's what I found on Google. Here's what this blog said about what the average life coach charges. Should I charge what this says? And what I tell our coaches in the academy is, no, do not charge what Google says the average life coach salary is or the average life coach fee, because number one, you're not an average life coach, right? Especially if you're going through Thriving Coach Academy, the caliber that we train you at, the tools that you learn, the level that you coach is so much higher than the industry standard. So you don't care what the average life coach charges because you're not the average life coach. And the other reason you don't want to concern yourself about these random numbers online is because you don't know where that data is coming from. So in my 8 years being in the coaching industry, I've never been surveyed on what I charge, and none of my coaching colleagues have also been surveyed. So you have no idea where these numbers are coming from. The fact of the matter is, coaching is an unregulated industry. So you are allowed to charge whatever you want to charge. You have total freedom in that. There are coaches who give away their coaching for free, for a very cheap price, and there are other coaches who charge 6 and 7 figures for people to work with them. So you truly do have total freedom. And with that freedom comes a lot of possibility, but I know it can also create a lot of overwhelm for you when it comes to making this decision. Now, another thing I want to share with you is that there's no such thing as charging too much. Okay, the idea of too much is a mental barrier that you are putting on money and spending. So think about right now, if a professional were to be providing a service and they give you an amount, is there an amount that's too much for someone to charge? That's too much? Think about if you have some kind of number that comes to mind. Because whatever kind of cap you are putting on other people, you're going to put that same cap on yourself. So there's no such thing as there being too much for one person to charge. The truth is, if the value's out there, and if you want something badly enough, then you'll find a way to pay for it. And that's how people will see your coaching. If they want it badly enough, and if they see the value in it, they're going to find a way to pay for it. So don't worry about, I'm charging too much. All right. And this episode is going to help you see ways that you can really come up with that number without being concerned around it being too much. Now, another concept to understand when it comes to charging as a life coach is that when people pay you, they are not just paying you for your time. And it's really important to break out of this time for money mentality that a lot of people are conditioned to have, because when you enter the workforce, typically you're getting paid for your time. You're an employee getting paid a certain hourly rate for the time you put in. So when you are a coach, when you are creating a coaching business, you're not getting paid for your time. You're getting paid for your expertise, and you're getting paid for your value. Now, here's a way to understand this. let's say that you needed some kind of major surgery and the surgeon were to be, charging $10,000 for you to get the surgery, and the surgery takes about an hour. Would you care that the surgeon was getting paid $10,000 to complete an hour-long surgery? No, you wouldn't, because it's so valuable, right? This is a really valuable service that you need. So you're not there like, oh, well, hold on a second. I need you to take longer to do the surgery because it's not fair. It's too much to spend $10,000 for just an hour of your time, because it's so valuable to you. So people don't get paid for their time. What people really get paid for is their expertise and their value. And it's really important you understand that. Otherwise, you will find that you'll undercharge for your coaching. You will undercharge for your coaching, okay? And understanding this concept is going to help you as I go further into some of the ideas in this episode. So before I go into what to charge, I'm going to cover the 3 ways that you can charge as a coach, okay? So one of the ways that you can charge as a coach is an hourly rate. This is the worst way to build your coaching business, to charge an hourly rate. A lot of professionals charge by the hour or by the session. Okay, for example, a therapist may charge for an hour-long session. When I had a lawyer years ago back in Seattle, that lawyer charged for every 15 minutes of their time. So it was a chunk of time equals a cost attached to that. Now, when you are running a coaching business, it is not savvy to charge by the hour. One of the main reasons why it's not savvy to do this is because coaching is not a one-off experience, okay? When it comes to hiring a lawyer, you may just need to consult a lawyer for an hour of their time for a specific challenge, and then you'd be done. With coaching, it's not a one-off. People work with coaches to get results and to move forward in their life, to navigate life transitions, to move through big decisions. Coaching is a transformational process. So it's not usually something that you just hire a coach for one session for and be done with it. So to charge by the hour, it then causes your clients to always redecide on hiring you for another session and another hour. So it not only puts more pressure on them and causes more consideration in their brain and more processing they have to do about, do I need to hire this coach another hour? Do I need to hire them another session? But it also is a nightmare for you to grow a scalable business, having to sell your coaching by the hour. It makes your job 10 times more difficult when you do this, okay? So that is why there are other ways to package and charge your coaching. And one of those is by offering a coaching package, and one is by offering a coaching program. And both of these are the recommendations that we encourage you to do, especially those students in Thriving Coach Academy. This is what we help you create. So a coaching package is simply a bundle of coaching sessions. So rather than charging for one session, let's say $100 for one session, you charge $2,000 for 10 sessions. That's just an example. So it's a bundle of sessions. Someone hires you, they invest in the bundle of sessions, and then when they get to the point where they're almost finished with that bundle, you invite them to re-enroll for another package of sessions if that's appropriate for the coaching that you're doing. Now, why is this a win for you? Because you're obviously getting paid a lot more. Imagine if you are making $2,000 a client versus $100 a session, okay? So you're gonna earn more. You're also gonna make a bigger impact in people's lives because you're gonna work with someone over the duration of several sessions. So you're gonna be able to see that client have better results. So that's a win for you, and it's also a win for your clients. So that's how you charge as a package. You can have people enroll in a package of 10 sessions, 12 sessions, 15 sessions, 20 sessions, whatever it is you want to do, you get to decide on that. What we encourage our coaches to do is when they're getting started to have clients invest in a package of 12 sessions, because 12 sessions, one session a week would be about 3 months of coaching. And that is a substantial amount of time where clients will start seeing results and start seeing the impact of the coaching open up possibilities in their life, okay? So that's how you charge
a coaching package. Now, the other way that you can charge for your coaching is by selling what's called a coaching program. Now, a coaching program goes beyond just selling your coaching, your one-on-one time. A program offers other forms of value, and this is where you can get very creative. Now, inside the academy, we help you create your own coaching program if you want to do this, okay? We help you know what to put inside of it. So the way you want to think about a coaching program is when you have a client, where are they starting, point A, and where do they want to be, which is point B? And then what type of value can you offer in a coaching program to get them there? Typically, when you have a coaching program, it's to address a very specific problem that someone might have, perhaps in their health or their relationships or their career or finances. So you'd have a coaching program that addresses a specific problem, and you're offering them different forms of value inside the program to help them go from A to B. Now, most coaches have fully virtual coaching programs, so they're able to offer it from just their computer screen. And I have a podcast episode called How to Creating Valuable Virtual Experiences. So if you're curious to learn more about that, listen to that episode on creating valuable virtual experiences. Now, you can decide to include sessions with you in your coaching programs or not. You don't have to have sessions with you. You can offer, for example, a series of templates, of videos, of audio files. This all creates a coaching program. You can also include sessions that could be one-on-one or group sessions. So you can have, for example, weekly group sessions for everyone who's involved in your program to be a part of. So you can have sessions where you coach people who are in the group. You can also have sessions where maybe you teach a certain concept or framework, and sessions where you do a combination of both. You're teaching and you're also doing coaching. Now, when you are creating your group programs, you want to ask yourself, what would be the most valuable offering I could deliver? What would maximize the possibility of success for my clients? Now, one of the myths that a lot of coaches have when it comes to creating their programs and their packages is thinking that more time is always more valuable, or more resources is more valuable. The truth is, simple is more valuable. People buy things that will get them results in the fastest amount of time. Okay, so don't think that in order to charge more, you need to offer more. You need to offer more sessions. Instead, think, how can I shortcut my client's success so that way they get it even faster? So for example, when it came to designing the curriculum in Thriving Coach Academy, I knew that I could go on and add hours and hours and hours of additional training calls and require our students attend more and more and more trainings. Or I thought, what if I just simplify the curriculum and boil it down to the most important skills that they're going to use time and time again, and also simplify the business side of things so they can really learn the concepts that they're going to truly rely on, rather than cramming them with too much information or giving them lots of fluff. And our coaches appreciate that. They appreciate that one of our values is keep it simple. So when you're building your coaching business and programs and offerings, you don't necessarily need to offer more of your time or more videos. You can think, how can I offer what's going to increase the possibility of their success at the highest level? Okay, so let's talk about what to actually charge, the number. There is no magic number. And again, do not Google what do life coaches charge. Do not waste any time Googling that. So how do you come up with some kind of number? You want to charge what you feel confident charging, but also what you wouldn't feel resentful charging. Okay, so whatever you're charging, if you're not confident in that number, how can you expect a client to be confident about paying you that amount? So you'd want to charge what you're confident about charging, but not a number that's low enough where you'd start to resent your clients because you feel like, you really want to be earning more. Now, with that in mind, and this is where I want you all to listen very carefully. With that in mind, you want to make it your goal as a coach to get to charging high ticket as soon as possible. You want to make it your goal to get yourself at the confidence where you will charge high ticket or a premium for your coaching. And by premium and high ticket, I mean charging at least $3,000 per client. Remember, this is not $3,000 per hour or per session, because we don't encourage you to do that. $3,000 per package of sessions or per program. Now, a lot of coaches out there, they don't speak to the premium buyer. They are not even willing to charge a premium. So most coaches out there end up charging so little for their coaching, and it becomes a race to the bottom to see who's going to charge the lowest for their coaching. But the reality is there are people out there who want to pay a premium. They look for what is the most expensive thing they can get that makes sense to them. When they buy, they don't see money as something they're spending. They see it as something they are investing. So they don't look at coaching as a cost. They see it as something they're going to gain so much from. Okay, there are people out there who buy this way, and these are the people that are not only fantastic to work with, but those are the people that are going to want to invest at the premium level. And I have an entire episode on this podcast called Be a Premium Coach. I believe it's episode 17. That is one that a lot of you who enroll in the academy say really made a huge difference for you, because you learned a whole new way of creating your coaching business without charging such a low price for your coaching, okay? Now, when you charge a premium, when you charge a high ticket, it's not just about you making more money. It's a win-win. So you might wonder, how on earth is it a win-win to be charging $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 for a coaching program? Here's why. When you invest more in something, you take better care of it. You value it more, and you end up having a better quality of life when you do that. So when people invest at a higher level, at the premium level, they have skin in the game. They're more invested in the process. So they are showing up to the coaching, taking it more seriously. They're going to get so much more from it. The other benefit of charging high ticket is that you, as the coach, are better resourced, because you're not worried about marketing all the time, and you're not worried about paying your bills. Your needs are met. You're making more than enough. So because you don't have this drain on you of around money, you're able to really focus on your coaching, and you're able to coach at the highest level. So you're better resourced. You coach at the highest level. And this provides an experience. It creates a container where your clients get the most amazing results. Okay, and the other thing is, when you charge premium, you attract premium clients. These are people that are great to work with. They actually do the work, and they get great results. And the fact is, if you're a cheap coach, you're going to attract low-value clients, people that aren't really willing to do the work or really have that deep transformation. So if you have a part of you that feels guilty or bad about the idea of asking someone to invest thousands of dollars to invest in you and your coaching, then I want you to remember that your coaching is a service. Selling is serving, okay? And I have an episode on this podcast called Money Guilt that will help go over how you can overcome some guilt or fear you might have around charging people a premium, okay? Now, one of the biggest assumptions people have when I introduce them to the idea of charging high ticket versus just charging a cheap price or charging what an average coach charges. One of the assumptions people make about this is that there aren't people out there who can afford to spend that amount. They think, oh, it's too much. People are not actually going to pay for that. And oftentimes people have this belief because, one, they just have never had it happen before. So they're just assuming that it won't happen to them. Or you have the belief that it's easier to sell something when it's cheaper. And this is absolutely not true, okay? Now, one of my mentors revealed to me one day that he had been charging something for a really low price, and then he started charging a high ticket for a different product. And he found that the refund rate when he was charging a very cheap price was so much higher. So and I experienced this myself in my business too. When I started out, I sold my coaching for a really cheap price, and the refund rate was about 10 to 12%. And then I started to charge a premium for my coaching, and the refund rate became virtually nothing. It was no more than like 2 or 3%. And when you really think about this, like whenever there's a premium product or service out there, people don't invest in that looking for a refund, right? People don't go into a Lamborghini dealership asking for a refund, right? They are willing and ready to invest. And you can be that kind of coach and offer that level of premium coaching to your clients, okay? So if you think that if you charge cheap, you're gonna make your life easier, you are mistaken. It's actually gonna make your life a lot harder, okay? Because you're gonna need to deal with refund requests and you're gonna be working with a lower quality client. And that's not fun. Or you can just get rid of all that mayhem and chaos by being confident in your coaching and charging a premium and attracting very high quality clients. And in the academy, we give our coaches a whole bunch of templates that lay out exactly what kind of questions you can ask when you're having that consultation with potential clients. So that way they feel inspired to sign up and work with you and invest at that premium amount. Now, one belief that I invite you to have, if you've never had someone invest a premium amount to hire you, is to be open to the possibility by having the belief, I'm willing to believe that people will invest $5,000 to work with me. And you can replace $5,000 with whatever number stretches you a little bit. I'm willing to believe that people will invest $10,000 to work with me. I'm willing to believe people will invest $20,000 to work with me. Okay, it all starts with having that belief. That's how it all begins. Just being open to the possibility, all right? Now, there is a really awesome strategy that I've shared with lots of our coaches in the academy, and I'm going to share it with you all. And I call it pro bono to high ticket. Pro bono to high ticket. Because if you've been following along in this episode, you probably have gathered a few things. And one thing is you want to charge an amount that you feel confident charging that also doesn't create resentment. And you simultaneously want to make it your goal to get confident in charging a high ticket as fast as possible. So one of the ways by doing that is by approaching your business from pro bono to high ticket. So here's what that means. You start out, and this is exactly what I did when I got started with my first handful of clients. You start out charging pro bono because when I got started, I had never had someone pay me directly for a service. So the idea of being paid anything was scary. I wasn't even confident in that. So what I did is for my first couple of clients, I didn't charge them anything. It was pro bono. I gave them a bundle of sessions for free with the condition that if they got value, they would provide me with a really wonderful testimonial. And what this did is it allowed me to really gain a lot of confidence when I began working with my clients because I got to see how well the coaching process worked. And I got to see the difference it made in their lives. And I got to believe even more deeply in myself as a coach. So after I finished working with my first couple of clients, they gave me great testimonials. And from there, my third client, I charged an actual numerical number. I actually received money for my coaching. So I think it was something like I had charged $100 just to coach someone over a series of sessions. So that wasn't just one session, that was a series of sessions that I charged only $100. And for me, that's what I felt confident doing at the time. And I did the same thing. I coached that person, they got great results, they gave me a testimonial. So I started collecting all these testimonials, which not only was great for my marketing when I was further attracting clients, but it also kept boosting my confidence to read over those testimonials and know that the coaching was making a difference in their lives. So then after that, I found another client and I charged that client $500. $500 for a package of sessions to work with me. Same thing, followed the same process. And then after that, I had my next client, I doubled my fee to be $1,000. And I kept doing that every single client. My next client after that, I had charged $2,000. And then the next one after that, it was $2,500. And then before I knew it, I was charging $5,000 a client and then went on to charge even $10,000 per client. And that happened within the span of just a handful or so clients, no more than a dozen clients. So think about that. You might right now in your brain, it might seem very far off between where you are right now and you charging 4 or 5 figures for people to work with you. I understand if there's a lot of mental distance your brain is creating, but you don't want to confuse that mental distance with the actual timeline. I want to repeat that. You don't want your mental distance, which is the distance your brain is creating, which means your brain is telling you you're so far away from charging that amount. You don't want to confuse that with the actual timeline of when you can begin charging that. Because in my case, it was only about a dozen clients, a dozen humans that I worked with. And then at that point, I was charging high ticket, and I've never looked back since. Once you start having clients pay you at the high ticket, you're going to be so confident in yourself that it will seem so ridiculous for you to go back to charging a low ticket for people to work with you. And then that's all you will get used to. And you will realize how amazing that makes your life and your client's life, and how scalable that makes your business, okay? Now, one of the coolest things about charging high ticket is that your clients don't even have to pay that all up front. Of course, there's different payment options you can provide. One of the coolest options that we recommend our coaches utilize is offering a third-party funding option. Now, it's okay if you don't know what that means. In the academy, we get you all set up with that. We explain it to you in detail. Basically, it allows you to have clients work with you where they get funded by a third party that's lending them the money, some kind of institution, and they pay you the full tuition. So they pay you, let's say your tuition or your investment is $5,000. You get that all up front. You work with that client, and that client is only responsible for a very affordable monthly payment, which they pay to the lender. They don't have to pay that to you because you already got your entire tuition covered, okay? And the coolest part around the funding options that we teach our students how to utilize is that there's no impact on your client's credit score when they get pre-approved. And it's very simple for that to happen. So a lot of people don't realize too, even when you enroll in Thriving Coach Academy, yes, we are a premium level coach training program. It is a 5-figure tuition for students to enroll with us, but you're able to completely get the tuition funded. So that way you're only responsible for about $250 or $300 a month, depending on your credit score, right? So that's the benefit of offering funding with your coaching business. You can charge high ticket. It can still be accessible to so many people because you have funding as an opportunity within your business. And again, in the academy, we'll show you how to set all that up. It's so simple. All right, so those are the different strategies you can implement when it comes to growing your coaching business, knowing what to charge, and knowing how to get yourself to confidently charge high ticket as soon as possible.
Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. If you're enjoying the show, remember to leave us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate it. And before you go, here is a snippet taken from our classroom inside Thriving Coach Academy, where a bunch of our students share what their learning experience has been like in the program as a way for you to understand what it's like to be a student in TCA. So enjoy their shares, and I will see you in the next episode.
So when I was searching coaching, I did what Frank told us not to do, which was over-research. And then I quizzed him like nobody's business on our admissions call. And my one criteria was that it was a diverse group. And it was so nice to be validated when I got in. And I feel very affirmed in saying yes to Frank and doing what I've always wanted to do. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you.
I'm just really grateful for you all. I didn't realize that I would receive so much value because I've always been the one to lead or take care of. I've always been the responsible one. And for once, like somebody was helping me.
I just want to thank everybody for listening. I'm enjoying all of it, and I'm going to embrace it all. I thank everyone else for allowing me to be a part of their coaching.
I'm really grateful from the bottom of my heart for this experience. It has been really eye-opening. Just seeing the level of vulnerability has really kind of unlocked something in me more deeply. I just find it really inspiring, and I'm grateful to have shared this weekend with you all, so thank you.
Any sort of tiny little bit of hesitation about doing this before, is completely out the door for me. This felt so right and so just perfect. The feeling, the camaraderie, it was just wonderful. I just loved every second of this.
Getting in this group, all the weight was lifted when I was able to see your faces and spend time with you and see that everyone else is also is on the same journey. I'm just very happy to be a part of it with everyone, and I'm very thankful that we've all found each other.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coaches' secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.